Hello, my name is Hailee Barbarits, and I'm going to review the ideal client for HRB Enterprises Ltd. The ideal client is for luxury living at 600 2nd Street in Portsmouth, Ohio, which includes 2 separate apartments that overlook the Ohio River. The demographics that I imagine the ideal client to have is to be between 40 to 60 years of age or closer, have higher education, preferably bachelor, master, or doctorate degree, have an income over $70,000 a year, and I would prefer that they would be single or married with no children. The reason for having them between the ages of 40 and 60, I'm going for a little bit older clientele because they tend to be more established in their career and have a higher income. The reason why I'm not planning on going over 60 years of age is because there are stairs to get up to the apartments, and it may be difficult for some people over the age of 60 to go up those stairs every day. I'm not completely set on the individual having higher education. At times, having a greater indication or a higher degree than a high school degree would indicate a higher income, which is why I would prefer my ideal client to have that. However, if their income is over $70,000 a year, I would predict that they would be able to afford the rent. The rent is $1,500 a year. And if you see the link below, I got some information that that mortgage should be about 35% of income. So if you take $1,500 divided by 35%, that comes out to about $51,000 a year, but I would want to upcharge because I'm including utilities with my rent. So I would prefer them make over $70,000 a year just to confirm that they could pay for everything. A single person or a married couple would be best in these apartments because there is only one room and it's an open floor type concept. So there, first of all, wouldn't be any room for children, and because these apartments are high-end apartments, I would prefer not to have children to tear it up. In terms of geographics, because this apartment is located in Portsmouth, Ohio, this will either be someone that is currently residing in Portsmouth or seeking residence in the Scioto County area. The psychographics include more of the personality of the ideal client. So some things that I feel like would go along with my ideal client would be someone that is concerned with status, being that these are high-end apartments. Someone that actually cares about the appearance of their place would be a good fit for this apartment. Also, someone that enjoys nice scenery and can appreciate nature, as this looks over the Ohio River and also the popular murals that we have. Having an individual that is also career oriented would be beneficial because that would also mean that they would likely have a higher income and be motivated to pay their rent. Someone that is clean would be extremely important in keeping these high-end apartments nice for future dwellers. And someone that lives a healthy lifestyle would also be part of the ideal client. As I mentioned before, there are stairs to get up and down, and that can be difficult for some people. So those who don't care too much to go up and down the stairs are able to do so and have good enough physical shape to be able to do that. The primary behavior graphic that I believe the ideal client would have would be buying this apartment or renting it based on the benefits from it. There is limited quality housing in Portsmouth, so they would be seeking an improved living quarters with low maintenance. So things that don't need constant repairs. This is a new apartment, and these would be on the higher end scale of the area. There's also potential for someone to have a usage-based buying. So being that someone is looking to rent because they don't plan on being there very long, doctors from the hospital are also sometimes on shorter contracts and don't wish to buy or rent a home, and they would rather have a smaller apartment instead. It was difficult for me to find specific statistics for Portsmouth. I did find that people with a bachelor degree is about 14.5% of the Portsmouth area, which includes 20,340 people, which would mean about 2,950 people would have a bachelor degree or higher, as noted by census.gov. I also collected the highest paid jobs in Portsmouth, which include some fields such as computer and mathematical, some computer engineering and science, and architecture and engineering. So by knowing this information, it doesn't give me an exact number of who I am looking exactly to target, but it does help give me a better idea knowing how many people in the area have a bachelor degree, and then also knowing the highest paid jobs in Portsmouth, I would know better of who I could potentially. Some more information that I came across when researching, I found that in the Portsmouth area, the households with an income over $70,000 includes 1,401 households. Now, this is a household combination income, so this could mean two people. This doesn't necessarily give me a good idea of how many individuals make over $70,000 a year. There are also a lot of people that are renting in the Portsmouth area. The people who currently rent rather than own a home is 52.2% of the population, or 10,618 people that are renting. So this validates my idea that two apartments added to this will do well, especially since there is a trend in more rentals than home owning. Being that this information wasn't really direct enough for me to make a solid guess, the educated guess that I would make based on the research that I did find would be about maybe 250 people that would match my ideal clientele in the Portsmouth area currently. Reaching the ideal client might be difficult because it always is difficult finding renters, especially ones that meet all the expectations that you have. No one is going to treat your baby the same way that you would. So to help find this ideal client, someone that can pay the rent and people that are responsible, my first go-to would be to publicize housing opportunities at target job locations. So for example, we have the hospital, which would have some traveling doctors or maybe some engineering companies. Based on the data that I received, that the highest paying jobs in the area did include engineering. I would also network through other businesses that have apartments. I do know some business owners that own apartments, especially on the higher end, that are willing to give me people who are on their wait list to get into these high-end apartments. So being that there is such a high demand and low supply, they are willing to give me this information because they are so far out in being able to rent to these individuals. From knowing people and living in the area that I do live in, I believe that the ideal client can be reached easily, especially through referrals in the area. However, it is going to be difficult to find someone that exactly matches the persona that I have described. Currently in the market, there are very few apartments open that are categorized on the higher end. Some of them are actually lower income apartment complexes, and we do not have any high end apartment complexes. So most of the higher quality are loft apartments that hang over top of businesses. Another issue is that many of the rental units are older homes, and these older homes are typically not updated. Another thing that comes along with that is that these houses are of low value and typically in low-end neighborhoods. To solve these current frustrations, I would provide high-end apartments that is in a nicer neighborhood where things are happening, shopping is picking up, as well as it's a short walk from local restaurants and bars. By identifying my ideal client, I hope that I not only seek out someone where I can help meet their expectations, but they meet mine as well to be able to care for my business and treat it appropriately. By narrowing in on my ideal client, I can exclude some of the riffraff and get people in the apartments quickly upon completion of the renovations.